Greetings, traveler. In previous videos, I have talked about how to talk to new people about finding a new job, about finding new playmates to play Dungeons and Dragons or other games with, or just meeting new people if you're moving to a new town and you just don't know anyone. What are some good conversation topics and how to take that relationship further, basically. But I've had a lot of people ask, how do you meet new people in the first place? When you see a stranger, what can you possibly say to them to make them interested in you, interested in the topic you want to talk about, want to play games together, or just go out for a coffee together? Or how do you do that exactly? So that is an excellent question. I think it's definitely something I struggled with a lot back in the day, back in my teens and 20s and so on. So today what I want to do is give you my framework for basically thinking about what to say to someone when you're just meeting them, or how to find potentially interesting people to talk to. My name is Xanthos. I've been working in the games industry for over 14 years now. I've been playing video games for ever since I can remember. And in my life, it was always a really important thing to have other people to talk about games, to talk about game development, find out what they like, what skills they have, how we could work together, play together, and so on. However, back in the day, I was just this shy kid who was into all these brainy things like some kind of like obscure video game that none of my friends knew about, or some hobby that was highly technical, like remote control cars that you build and tune yourself. I liked all these things, but I thought, there's no way anybody else would like these things. I wouldn't be able to talk to anyone about that. But eventually, I either had to move to a new town for studying or for work and so on. I wouldn't have immediate access to my friends, not at least. I wouldn't be able to meet them every day, and I thought, it was nice having my friends back in the day to do all these things together with, but where I am right now, I just don't have enough friends to do all these things. And in the beginning, I thought, that's normal. That's to be expected of life. You move to a new place, so all these things are to be expected. At the same time, all my teachers and relatives and so on said, you should be more social. You should talk to other people. You should like get to know other people more. And I thought, well, but I'm not interested in that. I'm horribly selfish. Why would I go and talk to someone? If someone was there to share in my hobbies and my interests, that'd be great to talk to that person. But I thought it just takes so much work to find a person like that it's basically not worth it. And I stayed like that for several years. What changed was, I think, the memory or the desire of finding other people who share interests with me to motivate me enough to think, well, you know what, maybe it's some effort to find new people, but once you find a person like that, you can enjoy their company for a really long time. You can do things together over and over and over again. So thinking of it in that sense, so maybe it's a bit of an investment to start talking to a new person. Maybe it takes some time. Maybe it takes me out of my shell, my comfort zone, and so on. But you know what? There's a great reward that comes with that. So finding more cool people to basically share life with. So that's good and all. But then the next problem I had was, well, how do I find these people? Or when I find these people, how do I talk to them? And what if I say something and they get offended and they think poorly of me and, oh my God, the world is going to end? So I had to find a way to navigate all these thoughts in my mind in a way that was both sensible, and it gave me a practical way to approach it. So what I want to do today is address each one of those and how I navigated them to basically go from a situation where I only knew the friends I had from my childhood to now where I'm fairly confident I could strike up a conversation with just about anyone. So And as I mentioned the other day, I've managed to find plenty of people to play Dungeons and Dragons with, plenty of people to play video games with, to work with. So for me, this technique has worked quite well. This is what it's like. So first of all, who do I talk to about these things to begin with? Just going out of my door and finding a random grandma, fairly low chance she will be into Dungeons and Dragons. So how do I find friends that are linked to this hobby or this interest that I have in mind? Well, the biggest cheat for that, and I've only heard a handful of people ever talking about it over the internet, was to select the right place for it. So if we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons, then hobby stores or these board game cafes where you can sit down there and have a game are an excellent place for that. Why is that? The answer is purely statistics. If you go out and you meet a random person, there's a very low probability he or she will have the exact hobby you're interested in or the exact interest as you. But if you go to a place that sells, for example, D&D books, there's a fairly good chance there's people who like D&D there. It's just pure statistics that are working in your favor. So conversely, if you want more friends for going to concerts with, for going to live performances with, for playing music with, a record shop, a concert, a live area, all these things have a much higher probability of having the people who are interested in that than a random person out in the street. The next thing that I had to figure out was basically, okay, let's say that I am in one of those places that has the people I'm interested in. What do I say when I approach them? How do I make sure that I don't offend them, or I don't say anything stupid, or they don't think badly of me? Somehow, when I was in that stage, I was really concerned with like what they think of me and what they will think when I talk to them and so on. So there, I again selfishly realized that, well, when someone talks to me, right, when somebody comes and talks to me and says something, whether I like them or dislike them, if I'm not going to meet them again, it doesn't matter. So if someone comes and says something rude to me, but then I never meet them again, it doesn't matter what I think of them. I'll never get to meet them again. Or even if I do, I won't be interested in talking to them again. So why does it matter what that one interaction was like? And take it to the other side as well. I thought, let's say I have a wonderful conversation with someone the first time I meet them. If I never meet them again, nothing will come out of it. Like, there will be no impact on my life or their life if we never meet again. So all these one-time interactions with people simply don't have the power to shape someone's opinion or shape someone's life about others in any significant way. You meet someone, it's a good interaction or it's a bad interaction. Most likely it's going to be a neutral interaction, and then people just forget each other. It's just their lives are not relevant to each other. So when I realized how that basically interaction was shaped emotionally and in my thoughts, I thought, probably it's the same for other people too. If you just meet someone once, if you just have a 30-second conversation with someone, chances are they're going to forget about you immediately after the conversation ends, and they will never think about you again, no matter if the conversation was good or bad or boring or whatever. So that basically took my mind off the reaction of the other person to me, and it made me think more about the last point. So if I do select someone to talk, well, how do I select someone to talk to, and what do I say to them when I get to talk to them? Sorry, again, my throat is fighting me constantly. So selecting a person basically came down to this for me. I would look around the room in that shop or whatever, and I would say, well, if, let's say, this magical being came down to earth and it said, pick any of the people in this room I can guarantee you're going to have a great time playing games or doing whatever with them. Who would you pick? So if it was entirely up to me, with nothing else to consider, if I could just point my finger and select someone, who would I select? So that is how I select people to talk to. That's not to say that some people are great and some people are not so great. It's just a matter of prioritizing, and we only have a limited time and limited skills and so on, so we have to use them in the best way we can. So I would start from there. I would say, okay, from all the people here, if I get to invite someone to my D&D game, who would I invite if I could choose? So that was that was an easy way for me to select who I would want to talk to. And that would bring me to the next point, which is basically, okay, now we've gotten through all that. We know who to talk to. How do I approach them? What do I say when I approach them? And this is where the observation approach really helped me, and it really made things simple for me and easy to navigate. So approaching someone with an observation basically made all this world that was in my mind, like all the thoughts about what do I say and how do I say it the right way, and like how to make sure I don't sound impolite to them or something. It took all of that away, because an observation is a fact. It is something that is unchangeable. It's something that just is. It's not subject to opinion, or it's something you visually see on the other person. So what's a good thing for an observation? So if we're going with the D&D shop scenario, then maybe that person is holding a book, a rule book, or maybe they're looking at dice, or maybe they're playing a game right now, or they're just browsing the shop. So I can say something like, are you thinking of buying this book? Or do you like a 5th edition? Or what's your favorite edition? Or if they're buying dice, I could say, are you starting to play, or are you just adding to your collection? Basically, whenever I would look at someone and see what they're doing, and I would wonder, why are they doing that? Why is that person picking up that book? Why is that person looking for dice instead of something else? Why are they doing what they seem to be doing right now? And I would simply ask about that. Once I started doing that, it was ridiculously easy to talk to people, because what I was doing before was trying to think of the perfect thing to say, and there is no such thing. But when I was talking about something that I could visually observe about them, then first of all, it was undeniable. If someone's holding a book of something, or doing something so obvious, they're clearly interested in it, or they're thinking about it. So I have essentially proof that they have some interest in that, or they're considering that. So that is clearly a topic that's important to that person. So if I talk about that topic, I'm talking about something that's important to that person. So usually, in my experience, I found that, people love talking about their interests. So if they're thinking about something, or they like a game, and you get to talk about that game that they like, they will be extremely happy to continue the conversation about that. And by the way, here's a bonus hack when specifically talking about interests like that. So something I was wondering was, well, what if they're playing a game that I know nothing about? So if they're playing a game I already know, I can already ask them, what classes do you like, or what part of this game do you like, or how long have you been playing, and so on, because I would have the knowledge of that game to relate to. But I thought, well, if they're playing something I have no idea about, there's no way I could possibly talk to them about that, right? Wrong. So I was very wrong about that. If I didn't know about the game they were playing, or about the book they were holding, or about the bands, the t-shirt of the band they were wearing, so I wanted to talk about that, then all I had to do was simply ask about it. So let's say let's say they're holding they're wearing a T-shirt of a band, and I say, if I know the band, I'd be like, oh yeah, oh my god, did you go to their recent concert? Did you buy their latest CD, or do you know when they're coming here next? I would have something like that to relate to. If it was a band I didn't know, I would say, what is that, a band, or what band is that? They would say, oh, it's so and so. I'm like, what kind of music do they play? So basically, I'm using the fact that I don't know anything about that interest, that topic they're obviously interested in. I'm using my lack of knowledge in the topic as a starter to a conversation, essentially. My observation is about that. So I see that you're doing something, or I see that you like something, but I don't know anything about it. Could you please tell me about it? And again, there is an intrinsic interest of the person to talk about this topic, because obviously they're interested in it, and you're interested in something they're interested in. So why wouldn't they want to talk about it? So again, this is not like a surefire way that people are obliged to 100% talk to you about. But in my experience, basically everyone I've spoken to about their interests are very interested in talking about. And probably the last point I want to highlight for this is simply being polite. So if you're polite when you're talking to someone, especially in the beginning, then it just makes things so much easier. If someone comes to you and says, excuse me, do you know how I could get to the station? I mean, there's nothing bad about that. He didn't insult you. He didn't say anything bad. You couldn't possibly be mad at him. The worst thing you can say is like, sorry, say something like, sorry, I don't have time right now. Ask that guy over there. That's the worst possible thing you could say to that guy. But if he's polite about it, then it kind of makes you want to be polite too. So I thought that's a cool thing that works. And indeed, when I approach people that way, I've never had a negative reaction out of them. So it's worked pretty well for me. I hope this serves you well, traveler, in your journey. If it helps, I'll be super happy about it. And yeah, I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time, and as always, have fun.